Hey everyone, today's topic, cut out things that detract from your mental health. And know that mental health is kind of a buzzword nowadays. It's something that people throw around a lot, and you do have a crowd of people who think that mental health is kind of maybe not the most important thing to focus on, and it can lead to people living a kind of weaker life, or should I say a life that will make them become mentally weak because of avoidance behavior. But mental health really is incredibly important, and I would say that it is beneficial to, as much as possible, cut out things from your life that detract from your mental health. But not because you're trying to avoid problems and that sort of thing, but because it will make your overall life fulfillment better and your quality of life better. So if you have a difficult job or a bad relationship, or you don't like the city you live in, going somewhere else, getting out of those situations, doesn't mean that you're mentally weak and you're taking the easy route. It means you're choosing what's best for you, because life is short, right? We don't know if we're guaranteed to live until 60 or 80 or way less than that. So why the hell should you put up with things that consistently detract from your mental health, which means it's going to detract from your overall quality of life? Because our mental health basically is our life quality in a way. It truly is, because it determines the way you feel. And if you're constantly in an environment that detracts from your mental health, or with people who detract from it, that's going to take its toll on you. And it will lead to your life not feeling as great over time. And it could easily help you fall into depression or melancholy or any other kind of lower emotion. Heck, staying in places that aren't meant for you can even make you angry. So it's important that you realize the significance of mental health in your life, and you aim to create your life based on your mental health and what things are positively contributing to it versus what's detracting from it. And as much as possible, when you find things that consistently detract from your mental health, cut them out of your life. But notice that I use the word consistently there, because it needs to be consistent, because sometimes there will be good things that can detract from our mental health temporarily, like a relationship. Relationships aren't always going to be easy, right? They're not always going to be rainbows and roses and butterflies and whatnot. There will be times where conflict is created because you need to solve a problem. So even if you have a few arguments with your significant other, that may not be a good indicator that you should just straight up cut them out of your life. Instead, if it's consistent, then you can make that decision. If it's to the point of being a toxic or unhealthy relationship, then yeah, cut them out of your life. But if it's just something that happens every now and then, don't be foolish enough to get rid of something good just because sometimes it's difficult. So this goes back to what I was talking about at the beginning of the video, how sometimes our society's kind of focus on mental health can make the younger generation appear weak in the eyes of the older ones. And it's because they're thinking in terms of what I just mentioned there. They're thinking that young people will get rid of something good just because it's not always easy or a good time. So obviously, I would hope many of us have the maturity to be able to make those distinctions, and we're not going to make foolish decisions, so that really shouldn't be an issue for any of us. But just make sure that in general, it needs to consistently detract from your mental health. But if you do have things in your life that are doing that, then by all means, please cut them out. Life is too short to stay in situations that make you miserable over time. The reason I'm even talking to you guys about this is because, I had a really rough week at work this week, but it kind of just highlighted how I'm probably getting to that point with my job. This happens almost every job I work at. There's only been one that actually made me feel fulfilled and challenged, but on a good level, and the environment was so cool that I actually enjoyed working there. There's only been one job I've had like that. All the others, I've always hit a point where I just was tired of it and done with it and wanted to move on. And I think I may be at that point with my current job. So I was thinking about that, and it made me want to discuss this with you guys, to hit on those things in our lives that consistently make us not feel so great, because we don't need to stay in those situations, and we shouldn't. I know that sometimes it can be difficult to escape them, but you really owe it to yourself to try to find ways to get out of those situations. If you feel like you're stuck at a job that you hate, well, start throwing your resume around to other companies and see if you can find any that would hire you. Like, you don't need to stay there, especially because people so often say that they couldn't quit their job because, you need that income. Well, yeah, but what's stopping you from seeing what other options are out there in the job market, right? Like, maybe it's laziness, but push through that. Like, there's always other things you can do. And I haven't really met anyone who is actually locked into their job. Like, usually we can find better ones. So do that by all means. If the city you're living in isn't great for you, then look into finding a job somewhere else or a fully remote job and then moving to a city that's more in line with you. That's yet again another thing that I've been considering because I just feel like I'm done with Southern California as well. I know Southern California isn't a city, but just the entirety of this area, I want to find somewhere that's more in line with me and the way that I think, and attracting people who have similar ideals and whatnot. People will appreciate the beauty of nature as much as I do and that sort of thing. And they're not so caught up in appearances and the rat race like many Southern Californians are, because we're so close to Los Angeles that this whole area might as well be called Los Angeles. You get so many people who are just superficial as hell. They judge others based on what cars they drive and whether or not they own a house and how attractive their significant other is. There's just so much BS that I don't want to deal with. So yet again, that's another thing I've been looking into to help my overall mental health. So I just wanted to share those examples to give you an idea of what I mean here. But whatever is going on in your own life that you can accurately assess is consistently detracting from your mental health, you probably want to hold those things under a microscope and determine whether or not you should try to get away from them, because life is short. As I said earlier, I know I sound like a broken record, but it really is. Like, you never know how much time you're going to have. So make sure you're enjoying most of this experience as much as possible, because you really do have a lot of control over that, right? You're not a tree. You're not stuck where you're at. So find situations, find people and environments that can make you happier, and then stay in them. So that's pretty much all I want to talk to you guys in this video. It's a bit of a longer one, but hopefully at the end of this you'll understand that mental health really is an important thing. I know, as I said earlier, it's kind of a buzzword, but there's a reason for that, because so many people are finally realizing just how important it is for determining our overall quality of life, our happiness, our life fulfillment. So make sure you focus on it. But that's pretty much all I have for you guys. I truly hope you enjoyed this video. If you like content like this, be sure to subscribe for more. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to leave a like on it, and I will see you guys in the next one. Arrivederci.